back with another episode of Local Roots. Hi, I'm Todd Studer. It is Thursday, and boy, are we in the heart of some wonderful weather. And in fact, I am planning on being out and about later on today. Farmers market going on in Council Bluffs later today, so if you want to stop by. And right here, you can check out, if you're watching the show on Facebook, we're going to be going live at around 4:15 or so from the farmers market. There's vendors from all over the county and actually down in Mills County and different places that come up for this farmers market in Council Bluffs. So would love to have you stop by. And if not, just be watching right here at around 4:15 this afternoon. We have Dave Lawrence from a nonprofit called Sail On and Fly High. It's a mental health awareness organization. And you know what? We should probably have he and his wife, Cassie, on this show. I think that would be a great addition. So I'm going to see if I can't talk him into doing that when I see him later on this afternoon. This is also First Responders Week. And remember yesterday we had Kelly Irwin, longtime volunteer with the Underwood Volunteer Fire Department. Well, today we're going to talk with Jamie Watts. Jamie is a 911 telecommunicator with Pottawattamie County. So she's been at it for a long time, over 10 years. I think she said 12 years. And great to have very qualified individuals doing that particular job. It's vastly important and takes a special person to be able to settle in and take the kind of calls that she takes and have to deal with the kind of stress that they deal with. So we're going to learn more from Jamie. That's coming up very, very soon. Also, want to remind you that there is a parade going on in Council Bluffs that is on Saturday. It's going to get started at about 10:30. It is on South Main and also Pearl Street. They kind of do a loop around there. And we'd love to have you come by and check out the parade. But if you can't do that, we're going to be doing the parade live on Facebook and on YouTube. Los Hills Media and Podcast, my company, has teamed up with Tail Slate Agency, and as a matter, you may have seen the ad. We've invested some money in publicizing the fact that we're going to be doing this, so you may have already seen the ad. But yes, it's coming up. We're going on at 10 Saturday morning, and we'd love for you to watch. Love for you to come to the parade, and you can even have the webcast on live at the parade. That way you're getting our commentary. We're going to be talking about all of the different parade entries and also have some interviews on too. So we're looking forward to that coming up this Saturday. Castle & Associates of American Family Insurance is your local insurance provider for all of your home, auto, life, business, and farm insurance needs. 4 convenient locations. They're in Trainer, in Council Bluffs, and in Nebraska, in Bellevue and Elkhorn. They are local and in your neighborhood, ready to help you navigate the complexities of insurance today. Travis and his team educate, advise, and simplify insurance, all to protect those things you cherish most. Give them a call for your free quote. And in fact, Travis was on a recent episode of Local Roots. Go back and take a look at it. He was giving some wonderful information about the changes that you may have seen in your insurance policies, or maybe you didn't know they were there. And he said a big thing that he was talking about was, hey, if you get a letter in the mail from your insurance company, open it, because it may have some of that information in there. So again, just go back and take a look at that episode. Do you or does someone you love need in-home care? Home Care Advocacy Network helps you maintain your own privacy in your own space while still receiving care and support with a personalized touch. Aging in place can be critical for many people. Home Care Advocacy Network can meet those needs with an understanding that assisted living is best at home. HCAN of Southwest Iowa brings the personal touch to care at home in Council Bluffs, Glenwood, Red Oak, Clarinda, and all of the surrounding communities across Southwest Iowa. Visit hcan.com/Southwest Iowa to learn more. More with First Responders Week. This is Jamie Watts, 911 telecommunicator for Pottawattamie County for all of emergency management, or just where specifically what departments do you work with?
So we dispatch for Council Bluffs Police Department, Carter Lake Police Department, Avoca when they have one, Pottawattamie County Sheriff, 14 volunteer departments, Council Bluffs Fire, and then we do a lot of the probation and parole kickouts as well.
You did that without notes. Holy smokes.
I teach the 911 class for the police department, the police academy, so I present, I don't teach it.
Right. How long have you been working with dispatch?
About 11 and a half years.
11 and a half years.
Yep.
That
I always looked at this as an outsider. Always looked at something with what you do on the level of say landing planes at the airport, or something that, because it's just has to be constant stress that you have to dissipate and be able to, because you've got to function.
Yes.
And when you have all of these emergency calls coming in, and you're not catching positive calls typically, so it has to be a lot.
Yep.
But you obviously
you learn to compartmentalize.
You found a way to do that. If you've been doing it for this long,
yes.
then yeah.
I've been fortunate. I've had the same team that I've worked with for the most part for almost 9 years. So we were all on night shift together for about 8.5 years, and now we're on days. But we are always there for each other, which makes it so nice, because you're all living in that world where a lot of calls are not great things. Like people are calling you on their worst day. So when they call you, you can vent, you can talk about things with people that are going through the same thing as you, so you don't take work home with you.
What would you say is the percentage of people calling that is a legitimate emergency versus something that they're just seeing as an emergency and maybe they should have gone a different call?
In my mind, probably 20% are legitimate emergencies.
That's
even
about
today, we had a call from somebody who called about a bus they saw yesterday that was driving on the shoulder. So he waited a full 24 hours to call, but he called 911 for that. Like, one thing I think is a misconception is that non-emergency and 911 are different, but it's the same for dispatchers that are taking the 911 calls, taking the non-emergency calls, and then still dispatching for all those people that I listed off before. So it's just 4 of us generally that are doing all of that for the 93,000 citizens of Pottawattamie County.
Yeah, that's obviously incredibly important work that you're doing. And thank you very much for that. But I'm trying to imagine that I'm guessing you go through quiet times of your day, and then if something happens, you've got a lot of people all calling in, probably with the same thing or different versions of the same event that has happened.
Correct. A car accident, a fire on the interstate, the tornado in Minden, and all of the other communities that were affected last year. It was my team that was working. And so there's 4 of us that started that.
Right.
And we also set off the tornado sirens. We page out the storm spotters and all of that. We notify utilities. So you're in charge. We do all that.
You've got your finger on that button.
Yes.
For when those alarms go off. So this is actually kind of interesting then, that we can talk about this, because I've often wondered where the level is of the criteria. Is it just if it comes from the National Weather Service, it goes out, or
Nope.
do you have a judgment call you have to make there?
So the storm spotters, law enforcement, and city officials can also request sirens to be set off. So the National Weather Service can actually send a polygon to our tornado sirens and automatically set them off for that area. Our tech people are fantastic and have that all set up. But last year, I think they got set off 12 times during that period, because we had storm spotters calling them out when the tornadoes were splitting. So they would call them out. So we had one of the girls I was working with that was working the fire radio. We split her radio. So I was covering county, and then she was setting off the sirens and covering the city. So it was super hectic. But again, we work with an awesome team, and the team that relieves us at 6 p.m., they came in early to assist us with the tornado. So they're driving in during the storm to assist us. So 911 is like a family.
How much preparedness training do you have to do to be ready for that? Because it's not as if this is happening, 3 times a week. You can go months without ever hearing that siren. So how much training goes into that process?
So we do a severe weather training every year. It's a 2-hour training class, sometimes an hour, PowerPoint on how to, like a refresher on how to set off the sirens. But that's basically it.
That's about it.
Yep.
I'm sure that as long as you've been with this and been doing this, things are streamlined. And you've got but it has to be.
Yep.
Because when that emergency happens, you don't want to have to be thinking about the process behind it. And I'm guessing it takes a little while to get the muscle memory.
It does.
from doing
So
that.
we used to set off the test sirens on Saturdays.
Yeah.
But again, our IT department has automated so much for us to help take that stress off of us. So if the sirens were late, there's a reason why. It was human error.
Yeah.
So, but yes, muscle memory comes into play, but until you've had that, it's the same as a pursuit. Until you've physically done it, like, you don't know how you're going to respond in that moment.
Yeah, I've always know it's 10 a.m. on Saturday.
Yeah, yep. So if it's like 10:02, your clock wasn't off, we were probably just a little busy.
Yeah, just a little. Yeah, but well, I'm a little nervous to ask about some of the different things that you have seen. Steering away from the more tragic thing, because I mean, obviously, I'm more curious about some of the more humorous things that came in. I'm thinking about a time that, back when I was doing radio, when we had 2 news directors in 2 different towns, we would have to go get the police report, and that was part of it. And he and I would play this game, trying to make each other laugh on the air, of something that came in that, best one I got was a group of puppies that had gotten caught in a culvert, and the officials went out and saved the puppies, and that got him. But some of the different things that you have, calls you've taken, or things that you probably a little bit more on the humorous side, because they have to be there.
Oh, we get plenty of funny calls. So one thing I didn't mention is we have access to the public works cameras. So the street light, not the like red light cameras, but cameras that are up on the street lights, like 16th and Broadway. So we can zoom in and see all the different activities. So not that mental health is funny, but one time the worker at Casey's was, I don't know if she was on drugs or what, but she was dancing around the store. So a citizen called in and was a little concerned. She was dancing around barefoot, and so we can kind of zoom in on that area. And when the officer pulled up, she took a broomstick and shoved it through the door handle and was like making faces at him so he couldn't get in. And it was pretty entertaining. The same camera, we have a friendly little turkey that likes to play in traffic right there. And he's super stubborn, likes to peck at the tires, and he just walks in front of traffic and stands, holds up traffic. Well, he was at 16th and Broadway causing a little ruckus. So the officers get there and there's people chasing him around trying to get him out of the street. He knows what he's doing though.
Oh yeah.
Like, he's just an ornery little thing. So the officer pulls up and we're watching him on camera, and he starts pecking at the officer's tires. So the officer goes in reverse and the turkey is just like chasing him down the street. And so it looked like the officer was running from the turkey to get him out of the road. It was hilarious to watch.
Yeah, we have all around the Council Bluffs, there's little packs of wild turkeys, and I don't know how wild they are anymore, because they're bold, and they just don't seem to care. They're going for a stroll when they go across the road, and you have to stop and wait for them. So yeah, that's just part of where we live. That's I've also seen a friend of mine that did traffic reports for media. She would see the traffic cameras. There was a hawk that was living up right in front of them, and you'd see frequently, usually once a day, this hawk looking into the camera. It's all part of it out there.
It is. Like when there's a spider on the camera, I absolutely hate spiders. That camera is going a different direction. I will not look at that one.
That's awesome. Something else that we've been talking with folks today about is the community support that I think is pretty strong for first responders, for law enforcement, for different part of this area. And what's going on today is just one example of that, the Masons wanting to make sure that they know you're appreciated. It's not as if you can't buy your own lunch. That's not the point. Yeah. It's just, hey, today's the day we're gonna honor you, and we're gonna honor what it is that you do. So come on down and enjoy lunch with us and have that. So what does that mean when that type of support reaches you in your office?
As 911 dispatchers, we're not out there in the community. So when people actually remember us and think about us, it makes us realize what we do is actually important. I'll always say I'm the boss of the city. I tell the officers where to go, and they have to listen. They can't just decline a call. But when the citizens realize it, we're actually humans too. Like we talked about, a lot of times it's them calling on their worst day. So when the Masons or any organization recognizes us, it's always super nice to know people are out there realizing that the work we do and that we are there for them when they need us.
Are you, do you have enough people going through the process of being involved and being employed inside of your department? Is it ever, staffing ever an issue with what it is
Always.
that you do?
I've been there 11 years and we've never been fully staffed. So
Really?
right now, our maximum staffing is at 28. With the trainees that we have right now, I believe we're at 24.
So you're close.
So we're close, but our hiring process is a lengthy process. So you have to do the same process that like a deputy does with the background checks. You have to do your psych eval. And then our training is actually about 6 months. So it's 6 months before somebody makes it to the floor. And with this job, there's a lot of multitasking. Everybody thinks they can multitask until they're thrown into this job where you're listening to somebody on the phone who's performing CPR, and then you have to run a plate for an officer at the same time. So you're giving CPR instructions, you're doing this, you're entering warrants, protection orders, all of that type of stuff. So it's a hard job to do, and you don't know that you can't do it until you're in that position.
That makes sense.
So we do have a higher turnover rate of trainees. But once you're there and you're in the job, like, it's about a 4 to 5 year, like if you can make it to that 4 to 5 years, you're probably going to stay.
I think that's a great way of putting it, that you don't know until you're actually in it. So you need, if someone thinks that they have an interest in it, just start the process and go through it with an understanding that, okay, this may not work out, but that's not any, it's not a reflection about who I am. It's just not, these requires a very specialized skill set, and that
it does.
That part about multitasking is it's got to be hard.
Yes, multitasking, learning how to compartmentalize so you're not taking the job home with you. You do get yelled at on a daily basis. So just like not taking those types of things to heart and wanting to learn. Like that's one of the biggest problems we've run into. I'm not saying just the younger generation, because the older generations too is like you have to be active and want to learn, proactive, like learning your maps and your geography if you're not from here. Because if somebody calls in and they're lost, like we have maps, but technology fails, so you have to be able to know those types of things.
Yeah, it frequently does. I've used Google Maps and it sent me down. I'm no longer on a road.
You're in the lake all of a sudden.
The road suddenly disappeared and I'm in a big green area on the screen. So, but thank you very much for everything that it is that you do, and for that's your longevity. I mean, that's impressive that you've been doing this for as long as you have. So it's. As a community, we need folks in your line of work just as much as we need everything else. So.
And we're hiring, so come and apply with us. You can come do a sit-along and check it out, see if the job's something that you'd be interested in. Like you can come sit down in the dispatch center. You're welcome to come and check it out too. See what we actually do.
That would be very, very interesting.
Yeah, we're just right across the street.
Perfect. All right, thank you. Jamie Watts, thank you so much
for your time.
And grateful that you took a little time and enjoy the burger today.
Yes, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Once again, thank you to the folks over at the Masonic Lodge in Council Bluffs for helping arrange all of these interviews that we're bringing you this week. Those guys had a lunch for first responders on Tuesday. They have another lunch coming up for law enforcement next Tuesday, and I'm headed back over to do some more interviews with law enforcement. And all of that was set up by the Masons. Very thankful that they have taken an interest in what it is that we're doing and in this show to be able to pass on that information to you. So big thank you to all of those gentlemen that are helping out there. And it was fun standing out there and a whole group of guys around a big giant grill cooking up burgers and brats for all the first responders last Tuesday. If you have a leak, a clogged drain, or you're planning a big remodel, Waldstein Plumbing in Council Bluffs has you covered. Fast, reliable service and expert craftsmanship. They handle everything from small repairs to major installations. They're locally owned and trusted and take pride in doing the job right the first time. Residential or commercial, big or small, when plumbing problems strike, call Waldstein Plumbing. Visit them online at waldsteinplumbing.com. And that's the same guys with Travis Waldstein and his son Hayden. And Travis also has AirServe heating and air conditioning. And they do a ton of HVAC work all across Southwest Iowa. So again, just a wonderful group of people and people that I trust And I know I've said it many times, when integrity matters, these are the guys that you want to call. And speaking of which, if you need precision metal fabrication done right, Foxco Fabrication in Council Bluffs, they're the ones to talk to. Custom welding to large-scale manufacturing, bringing your ideas to life with expert craftsmanship and cutting-edge technology. You know, I just had a conversation with Rick last night, and he emphasizes that he loves the one-off projects. He's not interested in large grind away, do several hundred of something. He doesn't want that. He wants the individual projects and the small projects because those are the things that he really finds interesting. So if you have something that you're having trouble finding anyone that can put this together for you, if it's metal, they can do it. It could be industrial, commercial, or even custom fabrication. They're going to get the job done right, on time, and built to last. Go to foxcofab.com to learn more. Well, thank you so much for joining me today on this episode of Local Roots. I have a busy day planned for today, and then, of course, the parade coming up on Saturday. I'm going to be ready for a nap, I think, after we get through it all. Maybe that's how I'll spend my Sunday. All right, my name's Todd Studer. Have a great Thursday.